New at 6, a former South Fulton detective and the city's HR director have both filed federal discrimination complaints against their chief of police and the city. The employees claim the chief bullied them and retaliated against them after they made formal complaints against a police lieutenant, accused of creating a hostile work environment. Tanesha Graham has more.
Linda, there's a lot to unpack here. In fact, the former HR director says 12 officers complained about this former lieutenant's behavior, but they couldn't go up their own chain of command, they say, because the chief of police was protecting this lieutenant.
The retaliatory harassment that our clients were subjected to was uncalled for. It was unprofessional, and more important than that, it was illegal.
Former South Fulton Detective of the Year, Joseph King, and former Human Resources Director Tanesha Graham filed federal discrimination complaints against their chief of police and the city of South Fulton. These attorneys represent both King and Graham.
They knew what they were in for, but they stood up and they did the right thing.
King and Graham said the harassment and retaliation they endured was so intense, they felt forced to resign.
Our intent is to pursue these claims in federal district court to trial if necessary, and get some justice for Mr. King and Mrs. Graham.
They say it started in October of 2021 when Detective King went to HR Director Tanesha Graham to file a complaint against former Lieutenant Shannon McKessie. King said McKessie created a hostile work environment within the South Fulton Police Department. He said he couldn't report it to Chief Keith Meadows because McKessie was the chief's protege and a close friend of his wife. Graham launched an HR investigation.
She proceeded to investigate the hostile work environment claims and began to share some of her updates on her investigation with the city manager. Eventually those updates got back to the chief. And at that point, he tried to intervene and stop the investigation.
That same month, Graham says more officers started coming forward with the same accusations about the lieutenant. In total, 12 officers filed complaints from October to February. In December, Graham said Chief Meadows sent her angry and intimidating emails demanding the names of the officers who filed complaints. She refused. In March of 2022, Graham finished her investigation and recommended that Chief Meadows demote McKessie and have her retrained on the department's bullying and harassment policies. Instead, the city had Smyrna Police come in and conduct an independent investigation. In July, Smyrna Police released this report, substantiating the allegations that McKessie created a hostile work environment.
It led to retaliation against our clients, Mr. King and Ms. Graham.
While Smyrna Police were still investigating, the city manager sent this memo to members of City Council. It recaps the conversation she had with Councilwoman Helen Willis. She claims Willis told her to fire Graham, saying Graham was acting inappropriately by investigating a complaint lodged by police officers.
She approached the city manager and told the city manager, if you don't fire Tanesha King, we're going to fire you. Right? So that couldn't get any more retaliatory. That's like
Graham filed her own complaint, saying Councilwoman Willis and Chief Meadows retaliated against her for simply doing her job. The next month, Council hired a law firm, Hoffer & Webb, to investigate Graham's complaint. But the law firm found no evidence to support that the chief or Willis created a hostile work environment. We reached out to Chief Meadows and Councilwoman Willis. They both declined an on-camera interview. But the city of South Fulton sent a statement saying Councilwoman Willis and Chief Meadows remain confident in the findings of the independent investigation, which did not substantiate the allegations made by Ms. Graham and determined they had not violated city policy or state laws. Today, I spoke to the former lieutenant on the phone, and she refused an on-camera interview, but did deny all of the allegations. She resigned in lieu of termination. We're live in South Fulton County. I'm Tanesha Graham, Channel 2 Action News.